The Commerce Show.
Yes, hello, Nigerians across the world. Top of the day to you all, wherever you are joining us from. This is the Comrade Show. My name is Comrade Lamtek Mamusa Oriahi. I want to apologize very quickly for starting this program a bit behind schedule. We've been trying to sort out some technical issues. It is the Comrade and Friends, and it's our live media charts. And today, by the grace of God, we are playing host to a very big elephant in the Nigerian scene, one who needs no introduction. And we're going to be looking at 2023 elections and, of course, the Nigerians' quest for effective leadership. This colossus is going to be taking us through some of those things plaguing us as a nation, and of course, what we need to start doing to get it right as far as leadership is concerned. I have with me, as usual, members of the Comrade and Friends. I call them the Musketeers of the Comrade Show, and of course, with an additional person, somebody who, of course, to the face of Nigerians today, needs no introduction because in her own level, she is legendary for her contributions towards the development of Edo State and, of course, that of Nigeria. Without much ado, let me quickly introduce the members of the team. I have in the house uh, Comrade Dr. Tony Agbons. Dr. Agbons, quickly, I want to say welcome to the program, my brother.
Thank you very much, my brother, Comrade Lante Oriaki. Very big welcome to all our viewers across the world. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. Thank you for joining us today. We are really grateful having you all. Thank you.
Yes, because today is a very iconic day and a very interesting day. Please, if you are joining us, help share this broadcast and let's get as many people as possible together. Every Nigerian needs to hear this special guest of ours speak. On that note, let me let you know that the man who nicknamed this program, the Sunday Tonic, is in the house, and that is talking of Comrade Pharmacist Austin Iremira. Comrade Iremira.
Thank you so much, Comrade Lante Bawosaraki. And my brother is looking very radiant today, Dr. Tony Agbons. And of course, our wonderful viewers, the people who make this program tick. I want to say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the globe. And like Comrade said, we have a big elephant in the house today who will help us do justice to today's topic. Please stay tuned. Remember the deal, always share and enjoy.
Thank you very much, Comrade Pharmacist Iremira. Joining the Musketeers of the Comrade Show, that's talking of the Comrade of Friends, we have a sister, a giant in the house, one who is behind so many things that happen, under the Comrade Show, and of course, a lot of other platforms across, the globe. It's my honor to let you know that we have in the house Dr. Loretta Oduware Uboroko. Dr. Loretta, it's a pleasure to have you in the house.
Thank you very much, comrades and friends. Thank you to everybody who is watching everywhere across the globe. We should stay poised today to hear what we think is the solution to finding effective leadership in 2023. Once again, I want to say thank you for being there, all of you.
Thank you so very much. Without much ado, I'm going to hand over to you, Dr. Loretta, to bring on our special guest. But before you do that, to Edo State people and of course to Nigerians across the world, let me quickly, on behalf of the Comrade Show team, condole with the families of the victims of the Irua brazen attack by ruthless armed robbers. The figures we are getting tells us that scores of Edo State people and Nigerians died on that Black Thursday in Irua, where dead devil armed robbers attacked some banks and of course shot sporadically and all of that. Numbers, people are still counting quite some numbers of dead bodies. We our heart goes out definitely to the families of the deceased and of course to the entire Edo State. And we are using this medium to call on the authorities of Edo State, the security apparatus of Edo State to do what they have to do to ensure that the culprits of this dastardly act are brought to book as far as that matter is concerned. honestly, our heart is going out to Edo State as a whole. Yeah, Dr. Loretta, over to you.
Thank you very much, comrade and friends. And the youths of Uromi and Ubiaja have demonstrated that the people ultimately have the power, and the way they've worked with the state organized vigilante to try and bring these atrocious persons who have committed this heinous crime to book is really commendable. Um, we'll move from this very sad note to the issue we have on hand today. The man we have today on live set is one that needs no introduction. He is a great son of Delta State. Specifically, he is from Ibuzo, Oshimile North local government area of Delta State, and is the epitome of what I will call a true Nigerian because he had his primary education in Kano and Guso, now present day Zamfara. He then went on to have his college education in Christ the King College in Onitsha and Loyola College in Ibadan. And when he finished secondary school at the age of 15, it shows he's been really stellar all his life. He wasn't allowed to start university at the time because there were strict sanctions on age. It's not now when you have 14-year-olds in the university. So he had to wait from 15 till he was 17. And not being one to be idle in that interim, he went on to attend the Federal School of Arts and Science in Lagos. And eventually, he got admitted into UNN in 1973 to study mass communication. He went abroad after that, and he's a renowned Nigerian professor of political economy and management. He is a fellow of the Institute of Management Consultants of Nigeria, a former presidential aspirant himself. But most importantly, he's always been involved in navigating the road to Nigeria's democracy. He's the founder of the Center for Value in Leadership and African Democratic Congress. He is no other person than Professor Patrick Okedinachi Utomi. And Professor, I want to welcome you to the set today, sir. Just to add that he's married to his lovely wife, Dr. Ifoma Utomi. Prof, you have the floor. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yes, Prof. Thank you, sir. Without much ado, I'm going to pass the baton on to Dr. Tony Agbons to take the first question and to remind our viewers that very soon a number will be displayed on the screen for those who have any questions they will want to ask the professor along the lines of today's subject matter. Thank you.
Thank you so much, our cerebral Dr. Mrs. Loretta Oduwari Ogboroko.
Thank you,
Prof,
sir.
it's an honor to have you here. Growing up as a teenager in Benin City, I used to stay up late watching Patito's Gang, yourself and Dr. Ruben Abati, when I was in secondary school and even at early days in university. Really a pleasure having you, sir. The road to 2023, as expected, is building traffic at the moment. So, Prof, we keep hearing of the third alternative. I know that you don't like people using the word the third force. How do we get, like my grandmother in the village, to understand this concept? How we go take break and down so that our people go feel understand what we mean by this third alternative, considering our bizarre quest so far in getting effective leadership in Nigeria.
Okay, thank you very much. You know, there was a bit of a break, so I didn't hear all of what you said, but I think I get the gist of it. So, what can be the thought force and how grandmama wey dey village go understand that well. Well, the thing wey be say since we start this our democracy, some people capture government, then they for PDP and then they for APC. But as I know, APC and PDP and our brother, when them quarrel for inside the PDP, some people with the PDP come out, go make APC. People who have been thinking that then they do APC, then take the APC over. So APC, PDP, the same brother. Since we start this democracy, when I see us with the waka like a person when wunjo for corner. So some people say, look, some kind of people were different from these people waiting for APC and PDP. People will be say that the people then commit to. People will be say they no come make them take from government, then come make them give, make life better for everybody. These kind of people come say them all of them go fall inside one big tent. These big tents. Now some people they call third force. Other people they call them the alternative. The main thing be say these kind of people then different from the kind of people who they call politicians today. If we now look at country be today, when I go see say
And we are definitely having some network glitch, but stay with us. Don't go away. Prof is still very much on.
Yeah, I think he'll be back soon, and I'm quite impressed with the way Prof has really broken this down in everyday language. You know that even our mothers in the village can understand this. And very, very big thanks to you, Dr. Agbons, because even I was wondering what is this third force about? What is it? You know, what's going on? What's the exact meaning? But with the way he's going, you know, you can see that he's determined to throw light on this concept and make it easily understood by every Nigerian, friends of Nigeria out there.
But Dr. Loretta, let me quickly ask you, from the explanation of Prof so far, what would you say, really, from your own understanding so far, is this thought force?
Well, what he was saying before the network, hopefully will be back with us soon, is that another set of people they will not be the regular APC or PDP. They not be the kind politician when Nigeria don't know since where they, you know, you hear when he talk and say, be like say Nigeria they bend, they go one side. And these people, be like say they know what they do. So there be the alternative, there be the other option to all these APC, PDP where we know. And it is high time that as a nation we test out these people because then get track record. They do have a good track record. I think that was what he was trying to proffer to us before the network went. But I have no doubt he'll be back with us very soon.
Shortly.
And it's important that we know this because it means that Comrade you, Tony, Austin, the man on the street, we are the alternatives. It means say we not carry fire for head. Those people where they then they not carry fire for head too. So it means say even that bike man where they rode can be the alternative. And so me say I'm sure.
I like Prof to come back, as quickly as possible because I like to ask too. Does it mean, Austin? You probably want to throw light on that. Would it mean that the third force will not include the existing politicians we know across, other political parties? I probably want to, get clarity on that. Austin,
Yeah.
I don't know what you want to have a go.
Yeah, I believe Prof will give a clarity. But just before we go, I want to read what Felicia Agboigbe has said because he's really surprised that Prof is speaking pidgin English and he says that is humbling. I think it's very, very good. So in between for our viewers, we'll be getting Prof to break it down so that we can understand Prof very well. But just to answer your question, Commodore Oraki, I think Prof himself said it. I was also going to ask him that question because I still believe he hasn't reneged on that. We are not aware if he's destroyed his card. He's still a member of APC. You understand? So
Yes.
I think what he's trying to say is that these people, we now know. You remember 8 years ago or 7 years ago, we entered one chance. 3 years ago, we tried to come up for the one chance, but it was difficult to get out. But people are now realizing. So to answer your questions, Nigerians are everywhere before. But I think this new alternative, as said by Prof and then Loretta and yourself, is just that we have now realized we want to get it right and do the right thing and change. So anything above, anything away from original or anything away from what is normal is an alternative. So I think that is what Prof is trying to say.
Yeah, but I think we have Prof in the house, but we cannot establish his video yet. Prof, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, we only have, I don't know if we can go on, but we cannot establish your video yet. There's no visual from your end.
I will get this. Is that working now?
Okay, yes, you are here, sir. You are here. So good.
Okay.
So, sir, you can continue from there. I mean, sir, you already generating a lot of excitement, both on Facebook, YouTube, and everywhere. You know, the debate is ongoing. People are really, following. Over to you, sir.
I'm pleased that people are connecting because you see, it is easy to always dismiss effort. And actually, for me, it's very painful, given the kind of sacrifice some of us have made over a long period of time to see how can we get it right for our country. And then you get people who, in the comfort of their living rooms, dismiss effort, sacrifice the things that, your life literally has been on the line to. I have served on the board of South African companies. And one of the things that dominate board meetings in South Africa is the subject of state capture. When some people just use governmental processes for the purpose of enriching individuals rather than advancing the common good. This is why Jacob Zuma is in jail. But in our country, as I said to my South African friends, you people don't know what state capture is. I created the television show Patito's Gang 22 years ago. It cost me a fortune. If I didn't Patito's Gang, I would be a rich man today. I can tell you in 2003, it cost me, and I'm not kidding you, close to 20 million US dollars if you convert the amount of naira we spent. I mean, the only reason I could do it then was that I had a big contract with Nigerian breweries on their.
If Prof was to keep his camera off, would that help his bandwidth?
Yeah, it will help. It will help. Maybe we'll go that route.
Okay, now we all know his voice and we see him.
Voice, yes. Yes.
Hello, viewers, please bear with us. This is all part of the tragedy of the Nigerian state. The network right now is fluctuating seriously, and of course,
let's call it the work in progress of the Nigerian state. There's still
tragedy can be a work in progress. we will not, you know me. I don't really paint things. I say the way they are. It's not a pleasant thing at all that we're having an iconic person like this. Just a simple network cannot make us have a very fluid.
Even the light went off in his house earlier while we were.
Yeah, exactly. When we're trying to establish connection, light went off. I mean, these are things which we cannot pretend about or paint because we want to be. No, we've passed that stage. We call a spade and not just a working implement. Over to you, Dr. Agmos. I know you are itching to say something.
Thank you. I always like that your axiom. We call a spade and not just a working implement. So on that note, I want to also join my sister, Dr. Oduwari Ogboroko and pharmacist Remiran to say that we really have a long way to go. We really get, long journey to trek. Make we take get effective leadership for Nigeria. Because for me, why I'm really pained in all this thing, I'm sure Prof, when he comes back, is going to touch on some of these things that the sign where we they get now no good at all. Because if you look at those where they talk, say they want, take over leadership for Nigeria for 2023, the sign no look good. Now still the same people. And these people, many of them, if I dey talk this thing, most people say, oh, don't talk against the elderly people. You will be elderly tomorrow. I said, look, the office of the president and all that is a very demanding office. So make we need not be analog people we need. We need people with digital experience. We need people who get capacity to move Nigeria along the line of 21st century. We don't need analog people again. And we cannot afford to make another mistake in 2023.
Yeah, but one question I want to ask, because to be very honest, we seem to look at the political offices as the major issue. Is it only the politicians that are the real issues in Nigeria? To be
Comrade,
very honest, let's
comrade,
look at it all
yeah,
round.
comrade, sorry to interject. You are the one that always make this parable, and you always say it in Benin language, where anagwala awe
Yes.
ame.
One,
For me, before I used to put a lot of blame of Nigeria on the followership, but I'm beginning to change my goalposts because I've seen that this whole thing starts from the head. They say if the head is rotting, so what is going to happen to the other part? So Nigerians they are not as difficult. Nigerians are not difficult people. So it's just that we haven't got the right leadership to move Nigerians. Nigerians what Nigerians are asking for is not too much. Just
But I,
good
but I
roads,
want to ask us a
food.
practical
That's all.
question, Dr. Agbons. I want to ask a practical question. If you have a bowl full of oranges
Hmm.
and you want to select, and those oranges are from one tree, and you want to select one, is there going to be any difference per se? You're going to pick from a subset of oranges that are from the same stock. So you find out that if we are selecting our leadership from the Nigerian people, we the people, it's a reflection of what we hold dear. I don't think the governance of Nigeria is the reason why you go and do your mother's burial in the village or your father's burial or your uncle's burial, and you will be counting the number of cows you are going to kill at that burial. And the house the man was living in was not even painted or renovated. Perhaps the house the man or woman even died in abject poverty. That didn't matter at the time. But now you are killing the cow and you are buying the bags of rice. I think there's a societal decay, and that decay is not exclusive of leadership, neither is it exclusive of how the followers are acting. So the blame cannot just go to one side of the scale. I think both the leaders and the followers have enough blame on both sides of the spectrum. I don't just think that you can just say, oh, it's just the leadership problem. But we'll let Prof come in and throw more light on all of these. Because I look at other societies, and I'm not, I will soon round up so I don't embezzle the time. I look at other societies and I see that followership holds leadership accountable. In the hospital where I work, if I do something that the patients don't think it's right, there are ways of complaining. Even in certain families, the man of the family, head of the family, is even held accountable. There are times I'm doing something, my son will tell me, Mommy, no, but you told me not to do that. And I will only me, are you shame? Take care of myself, come on. So I'm telling you that our society is giving a nod to all the wrong things, and I really don't know where we got it wrong. I'm not going to pretend I don't have the answers, but I will beg to disagree that we lay all the blames at the footstep of rulership. I don't even call them leadership in Nigeria. Thank you.
Austin, I know you want to have a go at this.
Yeah, thank you so much. But Loretta, Comrade Lamte, and Dr. Tony Agbons, you've all spoken well. I think what it tells everyone is that there is a problem. And I want to borrow the words of Bishop Asan Kuka, who once said that if you have a Volkswagen, you don't go and look for the repairer of a Porsche to come and repair the Volkswagen. So the solution to our problem lie indeed in Nigeria. So there are two prongs, leadership and followers. Both have a problem in Nigeria. But I know why Dr. Tony Agbons has now decided to change course to put it in the head of leadership. Because the way the situation is, it has deteriorated that we need somebody, a group or a subset to stand and make
sorry, Comrade Pharmacy, sorry. We are lucky again to have Prof in the house.
Oh.
Prof, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm sorry, I don't know why the network is such a mess. I'm going to switch devices shortly. Yeah, but okay, I can hear you.
Okay, over to you, sir. You were on your feet earlier, and you were really taking us through a very interesting terrain.
You know, I mean, leadership is about mindset. And I think I can speak with a little authority on this. I've written books. I've been teaching leadership for decades now. It's about a mindset. If people who are in authority can, at a time when the people are suffering so much, not even make a symbolic gesture to reduce.
I think we may just ask Prof to switch off his video. He will be fine. It's the bandwidth.
He also said he wants to change his device, so maybe this will be a good opportunity to do that.
Yeah. So, Pharmacist Iremira, I thank you for the support you gave me from the sword being thrown from the direction of Dr. Mrs. Oduware Oko. Because I have really looked at it, and when you look at leadership, if you break that word down, it is leadership. Because when we started this democratic dispensation in 1999, the way Nigerians, they said we should have patience, we should tighten our belt. Nigerians have been patient enough. So, and 23 or 22 years in, the whole thing is still a mess. You know, it's just a form of recycling of the same group of people. You know, so that is why for somebody like me, I've decided to, pitch the blame more on the leadership side of things.
I love the way you use that word, more of the leadership side of it. It is because of the level with which everything in our country and indeed our society has deteriorated. And there is this perceived sense of envy, not asking question of how someone is making progress. It's just like the issue of Yahoo Yahoo. When it first came, people were very upset. But now even families and people are encouraging people to join because we no longer question certain things that we need to question. When I was growing up, we had icons that we look up to, our teachers, our big people, And now, who do we look up to? The biggest business you can do in Nigeria at the moment is politics. And that is sad. Politics and Yahoo Yahoo, they are the only two business. So, you see, really, Dr. Agbons, you shouldn't shift ground. We need total leadership and a leadership that has a direction, that can set the tables on fire. Absolutely.
The reason why I ask this question, it's simple, because while we look at political leadership, you find out that if you look at the ladder, leadership exists at almost every strata. For instance, we have religious leadership. They are not exemplary. I mean, predominantly. They are not giving good examples to society. Most of our religious leaders, and they are leaders in different capacities. Some own very small, religious houses and all of that. Some own very big ones. Some are even very prolific, and they've expanded beyond borders and all of that. And you see that it is the same strain that sort of that you sort of find in almost everyone. Now, if you move away from religion, you come to our own culture. Look at what's it called, rural. Our rural leaders, our what's it called, the traditional leaders and all of that. Our own parents, the enogis or geowaris and all of that, and look at what they are doing in relation to the issues of land grabbing, for instance, in Edo State, as a case in point. The role they are playing, it's not exemplary. Everybody is just doing what every other person does. So why fingers easily point to the governor, the government, the president, the local government chairman, the political leaders? Let us look at the other small ones that are not, in politics, for instance, traditional ones, the religious ones, the social ones, in our social gatherings and all of that. The same story is what pervades all of them. So that is why I'm saying that, like, I joined Loretta to say that we need a holistic, a purification of purgation, or if you may, of our entire system. And it will happen at the same time. I probably will again agree with Dr. Agbons where he say he leans towards the political leaders a lot more because they can actually set a proper agenda to change the rest. We saw a bit of it when the Diagmo was in charge of war against indiscipline. No matter the criticism we have, we saw some change in the environment with that particular policy. But ordinarily, I would say that the Nigerians that we are giving birth to today, even the children of my beer that we are yet to give birth to, many of them they already have some, what's it called, corruption DNA in their blood. I'm sorry to say that, but I think that is what it looks like, to be very honest. I
You
don't
are
know.
not
Maybe
far
later.
from the truth, comrade.
Yeah.
You are not far from the truth.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, you are not far from the truth as well. I grew up in an estate in Benin City. Don't let me start. You are not far from the truth.
Well, there's a comment here I want to read from some of our viewers. There's a lot going on Facebook and YouTube. Osaye Okungbawa, he said the decay started with leadership, but as it is now, the society is messed up. The society have imbibed the decay initiated by the leadership, and society is now terrible. Our brother Anthony Ajibola Mori says the pivotal role of leadership is very evident even in the animal kingdom. And so many comments there, from both our. Just wanted to chip those two in. Thank you. I think it's on the visuals are on. So I think it's both ways. Yeah, that is where we are. Philip Omonime says Nigeria should take their responsibility. You will see the citizens will take their responsibility as well. I think what Philip is trying to say that when the leaders take responsibility, the citizens will take responsibility. I think that's what our brother Philip is saying. Dr. Loretta, I don't know if you want to chip in something.
Yeah, I think Dr. Loretta is trying to get this reconnection, processed as soon as can be. Yes, I want to agree very, holistically with Philip that we need, a proper leadership that will make change, that will set a new direction for the Nigerian state. Because, to be honest, things are not the way they should be if you compare what we have at the status quo with what obtains elsewhere. It's worrisome, to be very honest, and there is no way we can get a better narrative if we don't deliberately begin to change the entire course, the entire mindset of the people. I do remember when Obama was president of America, I was a very strong disciple of Obama. Obama usually would always say that change doesn't happen from the top downwards, that change happens from down upwards. So when you look at it at the end of the day, even as we speak, there are young people like myself, like yourself, who have become forerunners of ancestors to take over the reins of power as far as Nigeria is concerned in 2023. Young people who understand the time, who understand what we are going through right now, who understand the problem Nigeria is going through because, ancestors have been empowered to lead major aspects of Nigeria with their own below analog, exposure and all of that. We can see all of that. And some ancestors are lining up right now to take over from where, the present ones are going to stop in 2023. And yet we have so many young people queuing. Some are even ready to die for the sake of these ancestors. Wherein lies the future of the nation. So at the end of the day, I believe we need a proper reorientation of the Nigerian young people to understand the time we are in right now and the need for us to make deliberate change that cannot be influenced by the money power and by the money bags of among these very old great grandfathers and great grandmothers that are trying to stick onto to power. Over
Yeah.
to you,
So,
Dr. Agbons.
yeah, I still got some comment on our Facebook handle. This is from Bishop Osadolo. He says Nigerians are making waves all over the globe. Why are we not getting it right in our leadership stroke government in Nigeria? And then this one is from Zenajin Roland. Said consistency pays at any time. Professor Utomi had been a steady citizen that every right-minded people will cherish. And then our brother Nathan Eluma, he says, I don't think leadership is Nigeria's problem. Nigerian society with its current values cannot produce good leadership. The problem is Nigerian people. And Daniel Aigbe, he's saying the people must change their value system. And Bishop Osadolo Hehe again says they are all living ancestors. For Nigeria to move forward, we need younger breeds. Comrade Pharmacist Remiran, what do you say? A lot of comments both on Facebook and YouTube.
Absolutely correct. And I want to take it to another level just to give a gender balance. I dare say Nigerians need more women in leadership. I want to wake up to see more governors, women, even president women, so that we can have a different narrative. And like Comilante said, they are ancestors. Ancestors are not meant to live with youths and people that are vibrant. So there will be a strong disconnect. I want to beg our ancestors, find a place in the prayer house, in the church and in the mosque. I begin to pray for us and let the youths, conscious youths that are decisive.
Can I be the devil's advocate here? Can I be the devil's advocate? You say
Go ahead.
ancestors are not meant to live with the youth. But the thing is, are the youth and the people not supposed to pray to the ancestors? You make it look like they should not meet at all. But they
And
should meet
they should meet for blessings.
Yes. I agree with that. I agree.
you see
I
somebody.
think that they should mentor good people, not they
But
themselves wanting
what
to
do
be.
you say about a man like Professor Pat Utomi, who has been consistent? If I borrow the words of one of our commentators, how many Nigerian youths have found themselves or consider themselves mentees of this man? Rather, I don't want to mention names, but people are more akin to be mentored by people who episodically spend time in prison for money that they can't
Dr.
account.
Loretta, I may want to cut in here. I think we have a Prof right back. Prof, can you hear me, sir? Hello, Prof, can you hear me?
Maybe his audio is connecting.
Prof, can you hear me?
It's making huge efforts to get in.
Yes.
Hello?
Viewers, we want to really apologize for the technical hitches. We are working around the clock.
Yes. Yes, Nigerian people across the world, apologies. We're having these issues. They are very much beyond our control. But I can tell you that Professor Pat Utomi is making a lot of efforts to reconnect with us. And of course, I can see from my end here that the network is really fluctuating at this time. And for those who may not know, he's actually joining us from Lagos. The rest of us here, we are all in the UK. So you can see you can notice that our network here is stable. So it's part of the same issues, we are talking about, where some of these small things like this that other nations get right, Nigeria don't seem to get it right. And yet people pay a lot, to this service, to have this service. And yet this service, it's just like somebody was telling me the other day, they are paying in Benin, they are paying one BDC, the replacement for NEMPA. They bring bill of, ranging from 20 to 25,000 on a monthly basis, and yet they don't get light. So it's all part of this whole narrative, and all of that.
Some comments from Facebook. Is Facebook and YouTube really buzzing? This is Nathan Eluma again. He said, a society that believes in witches and money sacrifice, and that a single pronunciation of this year is your year of financial victory cannot produce effective leadership, as they expect supernatural intervention to fix the problem. So
Absolutely.
this goes to the area of the supernatural aspect, our traditional supernatural belief and religious belief and all that. Daniel Aigbe says, do you blame the politicians that give bag of rice for vote, or the voter that accept the bag of rice? So this one is another big issue entirely. Then Tony Emeka, he said, you are wrong with age of our leaders. There are a lot of young people in government who are worse than the ancestors. Examples abound. It is the value system which cannot change overnight. Daniel Agbe said, we must stop these ancestors from making mockery of our governance. Having more women in our polity will serve us better. And lastly, Ogbemudia Ogumbo, he says, Professor Utomi has a lot of fans globally. So again, viewers, the Prof is trying very, very hard to reconnect to us. Once we sort out this technical glitch, the Prof will be back with us to give his analysis. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Agbons. I just want to talk about the Nigerian rice, which is a concept that I wrote about not too long ago in Opinion Nigeria, and which somebody has brought up. You see, I think we should get people to look at it critically. And I always say the problem is not just physical hunger, but a hunger of the body, mind, and soul. And these people who perpetuate it using the Nigerian rice understand how to subjugate the psyche of the people. Because if not, why would you sell your voters' rights, your civic responsibility? You would not exercise it because of a bag of rice, which will end up in the toilet anyway, and you are going to flush it away with your hands, or it ends up best pit latrine or in the wilderness, and it becomes manure. How do we tell my mother, my aunties in Oba Market, in Selu Market, that the rice is not going to help us beyond the now? How do we make people understand the concept of delayed gratification? Somebody mentioned that Professor Utomi has many fans across the world. What action have those fans over time taken to propagate the message of an Utomi? How? We need to each go back to the mirror. We need to each ask ourselves the question in our own small enclave, in our own niches, what are we doing to propagate true leadership? Are you that man in a ministry who becomes an obstacle to things running smoothly because your palms have not been greased? Or are you that woman in a school who begins to have heebie jeebies the moment another teacher is employed because you think, oh, this person is coming with something better than I have, when you yourself, you have not fully expended what God has put in you to deposit in your students? We all need to question ourselves. We do. I go into UBTH in Benin, where I trained as a medical student and did the early part of my medical profession. And people sometimes behave in ways that I cannot comprehend. I'm not there to drag anything with you. But what I find is that the moment you begin to deliver your service with value for human life at the core of what you do, people who cherish mediocrity begin to quaver. People who have sacrificed excellence on the altar of mediocrity begin to be scared. You are not doing anything at all. You are doing your duty to the best of your ability. But because they know deep in their hearts that they have been dispensing their duty without value to human life, immediately you become a threat and they want to take those kind of people out of the system or find a way not to bring them into the system. But you see, I think that all of these things will soon come to an end because whatever has a beginning has an end. We should all remember America, United Kingdom, different places, there was a time that their economy and their peoples were just like this until a critical mass came together. And that is why it's good to have this kind of programs and bring on people like Professor Pat Utomi. That
Doc-
critical mass must coalesce and begin to ask the questions and take decisive action.
Dr. Loretta, in as much as I agree with you in all of this as you've said, this last part of it, worries me a bit. Oftentimes people make example to US, Britain, and all of that, and what they've been through. Do you know that when these guys were evolving, to be very honest with you, they really didn't have, better communities or nations to look up to. They were just like pathfinders. Now, we are existing in a world where we have people to look up to, where the influence of the first world country, we are getting their influence already. And yet, we cannot just, find a way to at least measure up to a certain level. Are you getting what I'm saying? So, it's going to really, really be very difficult for us unless the critical mass I'm going to expect is the ones that will just come together and take some rigid action to say whether either you like or you don't like, you must bend to this direction that is good for all of us. Because at the end of the day, we have Britain to look up to right now. We have the US, we have Europe. We see what they are doing. They are advancing, and yet we are just so different in our own practice, in our own everything. Okay, and amongst these people, we are even existing amongst them. As a matter of fact, a report came out from Spain some days ago to say that in the next 30 to 40 years, okay, African immigrants in Spain, they are going to dominate the Spanish territory. It's very likely that in the next 30 to 40 years, a prime minister, of Spain will be an African person, probably a Nigerian person. In the UK here, we are probably looking like the next 10 to 15 years to have a foreigner, proper foreigner like India or Pakistani become a prime minister in the UK here. And probably in another 100 years, Indians, Pakistanis, Nigerians, and all of that, they will outnumber the people who are here. And at that time, where do you imagine that this Nigeria will be like? Because we have people to actually compare ourselves with and measure up. In those days when these guys were growing up, when they were doing their thing, they didn't even have that first world conversation. Everybody was just struggling.
Can I throw something in, comrade?
Yeah.
Currently, I'm doing some studies with the London School of Economics, and I'm also working on slavery and trafficking and contemporary slavery. I want to tell you that the colonizers that came into Africa had something to look up to, and that was Africa itself, the African communities, and the African nations. As strange as this may sound to you, but they actually had us. And this is even more painful. They had us to look up to. Look at the history of the Portuguese. They will tell you that when they entered Benin Kingdom, for instance, there was street lights and an organization never before had they seen. So they had something to look up to. And there was
Sister,
even
sister,
you and me. Let's be honest.
Dr.
Sometimes
Fela,
we get some of this narrative out of context because of the things that are being pushed in different media and in some different academic papers. But there's evidence that the first library in the world was on the African continent. I'm serious.
Dr. Loretta,
And what of the
you don't seem
richest
to
men that
get
will
me.
even be richer in today's world than
Doc-
Bill
doc-
Gates or Elon Musk was
yeah,
Mansa Musa.
Dr. Loretta, we can say everything to encourage ourselves. which
No,
is
it's not
fine.
about encouraging
It's
ourselves. It's
fine.
about going back to find out where
No,
the problem
there's a
is.
point I'm going at. When the Portuguese, before they ventured out, they came to, I mean, in 14th century BC, I mean AD, development in Benin Kingdom was at par with that of Portugal. Of course, it's rating, we
It was
understand.
more.
But what was happening was, before they ventured beyond their shores, they didn't see Benin City. They were just, they just ventured out. They were just bulldozing everywhere. They met with the Yoruba people, and those ones say there are some people over there, they call them Ile Ibinu. It is when they came, they now say, oh man, people they like this. Can there be civilization in a black world like this? It is different from now. I will buy my ticket from here and I go to America tomorrow if I want to. I'll buy my ticket and go to anywhere if I want to. You understand? So I already know how these people are. You understand? This time we're talking about this guy's venture, the time of industrial revolution. Okay, it was an attempt to venture out to say, man, we need to sustain livelihood in our land. And slave trade began in the process. So many things began because they need to ensure that the farms, the what's it called, the plantations in Europe, they were kept alive, and they needed laborers and all of that. These were all the background to slave trade and all of that. It's not because maybe they see that, oh, there's one growing nation in this black Africa that we have to no, they came and they said, oh, be like this, oh, very good. So I think that time is different from now. Everybody was still trying to find a way. We just had 4G now. We are working to get 5G to a stable state. Before that was we're going to have 6G. It's the first time. There are so many things happening, and they are the first time. And we are even contributing to these first time things in these foreign nations.
Thank you, Comrade Lamte. Can we make some effort to reach Prof to see if he's still going to join?
Yeah, please,
Why
reaching
we are trying to?
I just want to read some messages from our Facebook handle as well. Pharmacist, if you will permit me.
Go on, sir.
Yeah.
Dr. Loretta, please, let's see if we can get Prof.
Yeah, this one is from Fiti Adamson. It says, for me personally, it is not about age, it is about our mindset, still on the leadership question. And our father, Ambassador Matthew Waifo, he said, the most important thing that we put Nigeria on the path of development and progress is restructuring. Unless Nigeria restructures, we are wasting time. The 1999 Constitution is a criminal constitution written by a section of the society to defend their interest. That is Ambassador Adesuwa Matthew Biki Owaifo. And then the last one I want to read is from Philip Omenime again. He said, I think it's time Nigerian youth should be fully involved in politics. This is not time to say vote does not count or it is them. Come out, vote, and wait until your vote is counted. So a lot of comments coming on our Facebook and YouTube handle.
Thank you, Dr. Tony Agbons. The discussion between Dr. Loretta Agboroko and Comrade was really getting very interesting, and I was loving it. But I just want to say something. In addition to all that we have said, religion is destroying our country, and is destroying it very fast. Because everybody blame everything on God. Now God good one. You are not working. Somebody will say a prayer for you. You are going to be a millionaire tomorrow. And you say yes. Rather, we follow religion, but we don't even fear God. Because if you do fear
Pharmacist Remember, sorry to cut in. I think we have the Prof, though we don't have his video. We may go like that if we can have clear audio. Prof, can you hear me, sir? Prof, can you hear me?
I think Prof is back now.
Yes.
He probably just uses audio.
Yes. We can't get his audio, of course, and the visuals are not there yet. Prof, can you hear me, sir? Viewers, please bear with us. I'm sure you understand what is happening here. This is beyond our control, even beyond Prof's control. He's doing his best as much as possible to be with us. Prof, can you hear me, sir? Prof, do you hear me?
I think it's not connected yet.
He is connected, but it's still part of this whole network matter. Hello, Prof. Can you hear me?
Maybe you talk to him privately. I want to read another
I
comment.
just contacted him and he's trying to connect. It will.
Yeah.
Let's just give it a few minutes.
All right. Over to you, Dr. Agbons.
Yes, still on our Facebook handle. I have this one from NY Esangbedo. He said, "I believe that we can start by making changes in our own level of leadership. Like Comrade Lante said, leadership exists in every stratum of society. Let us change our values to education, honesty, respect, kindness, and be better people. Parents, managers, and hopefully the next two generations will be better, because I have honestly given up with this generation and better leadership through governance." So that's our brother NY Esang Bedo. Felicia Boegbe, our sister, she's saying Nigerians need a good, mentally stable person to govern them. What a father has is what he offers to his children. If somebody who is not mentally stable governs Nigeria, what would he have to offer to his citizens? If a blind man leads a blind man, what happens? Nigeria needs to wake up to know how to choose a good leader for themselves by not allowing someone to buy their vote for mere cup of rice, like Esau, who sold his birthright for a mere pot of soup and later suffered the consequences of his decision. So those are some of the message I've picked from our viewers on Facebook and YouTube.
Yeah, I was still on the aspect of talking about.
Just 1 second, sir. Hello, Prof. Can you hear me, sir? Okay. Dr. Loretta, I want to disconnect him and let's reach him to try to reconnect again.
Yeah.
Because that space may be disturbing his reconnection. Yes, over to you, Pharmacist Remira.
Yeah, I was just going to talk more on that aspect of religion. How we have taken so many things for granted and push all of them to religion. God go do it for me. You are not gainfully employed. Somebody sees a testimony and say tomorrow you become a millionaire and you are happy. We've become so docile. And like Dr. Tony said, it has become like an Abuja politics, which has made our government very wicked. All we do is just go to the center to collect money. We don't think. I am a Catholic and proudly so. Over 25 years ago, the Bishop Conference of Nigeria decided to start saying these prayers, prayer for Nigeria in distress. All Catholics, they say it at all masses. What has changed? Nothing has changed. I have stopped saying that prayer. It doesn't make me less a Catholic. Prayer without action and good work will lead us nowhere. We claim to be religious, Christians, Muslims alike, but we don't fear God. And if you fear God, you will fear man and you will fear society and you do things right.
Pharmacist Remira, I'll tell this to the Nigerian public today. We must understand this. Any nation that has more religious houses, churches, and mosques than factories and business places, that nation will wallow in poverty forever.
Absolutely.
You are right.
That nation will wallow in poverty forever. And that is the case with us as a nation. Every street you go to, 2, 3, 4 churches. So, in fact, you go even see some. One go there, say story building, and that one go there, the down floor.
But Lante, you have just answered yourself. Those religious houses are the industries.
So anyway, I have a comment here, gentlemen, from this one again from Ambassador Matthew BQ Wifo, talking about leadership. He said, "Thank God that the market women in Benin have woken up. Rice can no longer make them change or buy their votes. They will accept the rice and vote their conscience." So that one is a comment there from Ambassador Wifo.
We actually need such kind of that's kind of orientation, okay? Because the thing you are coming to share is our own. you stole from us. You stole from the people. So the people should accept it and, of course, go ahead and vote their conscience. I know we saw that in the last election in those states. Uh, and we need that to stop. I mean, to occupy the space, that ideology. Probably when that is there, you spend so much money, you spend even the most, and all of that, and you eventually lose because people are voting according to what they believe in and the ideology and their conscience and every other thing. That may dissuade these money bags, from putting money before. Because right now, as we speak, Nigerians may not be aware, a certain candidate, is some of his what's it called, followers and forerunners have said that they are ready to buy each vote for as much as 50,000 naira when the time comes. A certain candidate, they've boasted. As a matter of we have not gone to 2023. They have already started buying the votes in question. Villages and people are under their payroll right now, pursuant to 2023 elections and all of that. When such a person becomes president of Nigeria, what do you think is going to happen? Anyway, I think we need to continue this dialogue. We need to ensure that we keep this discourse going on, so that we start talking to our people as much as possible, because 2023 is going to change a lot of things. We either get it right or we get it wrong and remain where we are.
But there's a question somebody just raised now, that if we don't restructure. So I don't know what, gentlemen, what you guys think about this. Because that is one question I have reserved for Prof. Maybe if you guys can just scratch the surface a little bit.
Yeah, thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Dr. Tony. Having a third force, having an alternative is already restructuring. What is restructuring? Trying to do it differently. Everything we are doing now is restructuring, whether you like it or not. The only difference is that the present leadership have not owned it. Until they do, we will just be scratching the surface. But we are on the march, and on the march we must.
Well, I may hold a different opinion, my brother. Restructuring is far deeper than that. And I'll start from the very beginning, okay? This Nigeria was amalgamated in 2014 by the British and all of that. And my papa not did that meeting, my mama not did that meeting, your parents not did that meeting. Some few people now come together to join this country and all of that. And at that time, it was only God know what to be the interest. Now, if you look at it, the marriage of the Southern and Northern Protectorate of Nigeria, it's a fraudulent marriage by very many of us. Okay, man, be that as it may, we've come together as Nigeria, got our independence in 1960, Republican independence 1963. Since they're coming down, we have seen that, okay, we are in a marriage that is not deeply rooted. For instance, the Edo people and some of these northern parts of Nigeria will not get any linkage in any way, culturally and otherwise. You understand what I'm saying now? So restructuring has to do with remarrying ourselves again under this present arrangement. And that remarrying has to do with putting everybody's interest on the table and creating an acceptable balance for everybody. Because the Nigeria we have right now, with the concern we have, or even the previous ones, it is not a workable one. Because everybody's interest, okay, is not being looked after. Now, one of the most unjust nations in this world today, Nigeria, we are talking of 2023 elections. Some of us have the opinion that, given the bias that this nation don't show towards the Easterners, there should be no argument that an Igbo person should be the next president of Nigeria. But they are not going to accept it.
Right.
That is unjust in itself. And these are all part of the matter we go come into this restructuring to say, we go arrange them. Between this and that year, a Yoruba is president. Between this and this one will be president. Between that will be president. So everybody within this contraction will reach the agreement on how they share the power them as it will be. They will look at the issue of security. I cannot sit down in my own gentle Benin City, okay, in my own gentle Edo State, and some people when it be say I don't get connection with, now they not gonna make me they go my own farm where they bring my food come out because of terrorism. And because say again, you have made security on the exclusive legislative list that the Edo State government cannot fully legislate on, to say we want to defend ourselves the way we ought to do, guided by the provisions of the law. All this will come into that restructuring process. So at the end of the day, my brother, we need holistic restructuring, and it has to start with remarrying the remarriage of the Nigerian state. That is the fundamental thing, my brother. This one we all don't want to just equate. You understand what I'm saying? Now the real in the matter now, the remarriage. We need to remarry again or renew the marriage, as it were. That's my own say. Maybe Dr. Agmos may have something to add to it.
Yes, I know that Dr. Oduware Boroko is, trying to help us get information from Professor Utomi to get back on the onset. So this comment from Francis Nero Imade said, I want to thank you for this enlightening program. I would appeal to you to liaise with youths in other geopolitical zones to see the need to vote a credible and destabilized youthful Nigerian as president come 2023. The youths did it in Edo State governorship election, and they can do it in the presidential election. God bless Nigeria. And then Alex Kevin, he said, Oga, we all need referendum. That's another aspect of the whole thing. And then Roland Idonije Aiboede says, restructuring is the solution for now. The constitution is not well defined. And again, our brother Nathan Eluma, he wrote, I don't expect 2023 elections to produce anything better. As far as the politicians come from Nigerian society, it will produce the same corrupt, unproductive regime. So those are just some comments, that I just wanted to read out.
Fair enough. Well, I agree with these opinions. We need restructuring and we need an honest one. Arobonosi Okokono says true restructuring Nigeria is the answer. And it's very important. It's not just talking about restructuring. We need an honest restructuring. Because again, they may say they want to restructure. It could be their own way. You understand? That will not eventually meet waiting we actually want at the end of the day. And that again will put us like 7 steps backward and 2 steps forward, And so honest restructuring will look into all of the issues and all of that. Even when they talk of minority rights and all of that, they will all come to play in the matter. And everybody will agree. And from there, we cannot raise a viable template, a viable constitution that can lead us further into a better society that we desire for ourselves.
Yeah, thank you, our viewers. I just want to remind us again, today is the live media chat with Professor Pat Utomi. We are experiencing some technical glitch at the moment, but we are sure
But can you hear me now?
that Prof will join us.
Okay, I think Prof is here already. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we can hear
Thank
you,
you.
Prof.
Okay, good. I think I probably was touching some things and messing the system up, but anyway.
Yeah, Prof, welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah. Prof, I know that you've been off for a while. I think you were trying to develop your framework for this discussion, and you were already looking at the third
Right.
alternative, APC, PDP,
yes,
and all that.
let me explain how Nigeria came down to where we are. Sadly, very, very sadly. I don't think it's because these guys are wicked or anything, but a culture just evolved that is against progress. I cannot tell you that. They don't know it, but as people have repeatedly said, there's nothing we do if we don't change this order and even the actors for Nigeria to make any progress. I can tell you that, and I can put money down and have you go to the bank and bet on it. This is how we evolved, sadly. In the 1960s, we built a federal structure that was based on what two Americans, Robert Melson and Howard Wolpe, called competitive communalism. You see, the regions were competing with who will most bring progress to their people. That competition obviously got too intense. On its own, it was not a bad thing. It was what brought all the progress that we got. Let's remember that at the time that self-government came to Nigeria, there was no manufacturing whatsoever in Nigeria. Colonial administration did not plan to manufacture. There were only literally 2 factories in Nigeria. Federated Motor Industries putting some panels to trucks, and Nigerian breweries putting water inside what they brought from Europe. these people determine these new political leaders, many of who were riding around their bicycles. Again, that is what pains me when I look at our so-called politicians today. Onyeka Onwenu will remind you her father was a big parliamentarian in the 60s. And he continued his full-time job as principal of an Etonian high school in Port Harcourt. And his mode of transportation was his bicycle. Her mother, Onyeka's mother, was a trader and made much more money than her father, who was a parliamentarian and principal of a school. And he would come and borrow money from her and go off, but they gave service to the people. Now, part of the service that they gave was that on taking over, they realized that there was no manufacturing in Nigeria, and they
the network has gone quite bad again.
It was really, yeah.
It was quite fluid, yeah. Because we don't have his visuals, it's just the audio. And I think it was on a very, very interesting
Yes,
line.
he was developing some template
Yes.
to keep this conversation going.
Absolutely.
And I think we have to check our software engineers. They need to also help us because this program is bringing out a lot of truth, home truths. So we cannot also be ignorant of the devices of some columnists to derail the program. So
Absolutely. And just to read what Daniel Aigbe said, he's trying to encourage us. Patient people, it is worth the wait. Thank you, Daniel Aigbe.
thank you, our viewers, for all your support. We will definitely get this conversation going.
Yeah.
We did, can't we?
Okay, I think Prof is
fundamentally for self-aggrandizement was for, what can you get? That's the whole state capture thing. And it became part of the culture. When the military were forced out, literally speaking, in 1998, and I was there, I was one of those who founded the Concerned Professionals. I was the lead founder of Concerned Professionals, let's be very fair and frank. And professionals resisted them, resulted in, the military eventually deciding it was time to run. And at that time, we had meetings amongst ourselves. What should we do? Some people, like Donald Duke, like the late Waziri Mohammed and co, thought we should enter politics. Some people like Tola Mobuluri and other CEOs of companies thought, no, we are businessmen, we are business leaders. Let's allow the old politicians to come in and take over. Now, what we did not realize was that the old politicians did not think the army was going to really go. So they did not move. And the soldiers, some of who are now changed uniform to Agbada, and they are old bagmen.
actually.
If you can check your studio line, comrade, I just forward the message from Dr. Loretta to you. You can forward.
I've seen it.
Yes, so because this discussion has to go on today. It's really, Prof is just building a good intro for us to take the discussion.
And it's a very interesting one at that, to be honest.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I honestly, I'm curious to want to follow this what's it called, the intro. if you may, that Prof is establishing, I think it's leading us somewhere.
Yes.
And I think, from what I'm looking at, is establishing, values at the time, where political service was more for the glory of service, not for what you can get. Imagine he said, a big, a leader, was going to work with his bicycle. Meanwhile, the wife who's a trader is even controlling more money and all of that. And at the time, I would imagine that, it wasn't how much you want to make from politics or from your leadership position that matters. It was how much you contribute to the process. And I think that we did see this during the colonialist, the nationalist era, where our nationalists fought because of what they believed, not because of how much they want to make.
Yeah, Comrade Lamptey, while we are waiting for Prof.
I think Prof is. Hello, Prof, can you hear me, sir?
I can hear you clearly.
Okay, go ahead, sir. We lost your line momentarily.
Okay, so
Go ahead, sir.
I was saying that this evolution of politics from a time when it was about service to the post or state capture era, where it was about who can access the state and convert and corrupt state processes for purposes of personal power, influence, wealth, and those kinds of things. So we need a dramatic change in the politics. And how can we do it? Now, what we are trying to do is construct a coalition of what we call the willing and the dispossessed. Who are the willing? The willing are, if you go back to old Greek thinking, true citizens, the so-called philosopher kings, people who have said, look, immortality, my living forever, people remembering me long after my body has become dust, requires that we construct a vision of tomorrow of what our country can be and work assiduously to make our children's tomorrow better than our today. Now, these willing, going into a coalition with the dispossessed, if you look at what the current political structure in Nigeria has done, it has dispossessed certain classes of people. These include women. Nigeria has one of the worst rates, even in Africa, by African standards. There are more women in the parliaments of bush countries in Africa than there are in Nigeria. There are more women ministers in Rwanda than have been in the entire years of government since we returned to civil rule in Nigeria. The youth, they've called the youth lazy, and they are lazier than these young people. I see them, I teach them, I know that they're not lazy. We have just failed to give them opportunity, but they call them lazy. There are the intellectuals who have, this political class is very frightened of. And we know what's changed China's course. That when Deng Xiaoping took power, his constant, if you go and read the speeches of Deng in 1978, it was about the power of intellect, about how intellectuals must show the way to their Communist Party. Completely changed the course of China's course, or the path of China's course. But this intellectual class, because it's all about grabbing and sharing, disdain intellectuals. So they are part of the dispossessed. Professionals are sneered at. Merit has been made a joke of. If you look at what Singapore did, and you've seen these clips going around on the internet, MPH was their simple formula: merit, pragmatism, and honesty. If there's anything missing from Nigeria, it's all of these three. There's no thought for merit in the way we run the country today. There's no pragmatism, no creativity, just how much will oil bring, and let us share. There is no honesty. How can you make progress in a country with none of those? We see that as the basis of Singapore's triumph, and yet we lack all of these. So the idea is to construct a coalition of women, of youth, of intellectuals, of professionals. And fortunately for us, Labour has massively embraced this idea that we have come forward to. They say, where's your structure? The Nigerian Labour Congress is providing its network around the country as the base of the structure of the alternative track. We are then taking on top of it women organizations, youth organizations. X number from amongst them will be in the leadership council in every state, going down to local governments. By the time we construct this coalition, you ask yourself a simple question. How many people voted Chukwuma Soludo in as governor of Anambra State last month? 100 and something thousand people. Lagos, almighty Lagos, with claims of between 19 million and 25 million as the population. How many people voted for Jide Sanwo-Olu to become governor? 400 and something thousand people. In spite of all the rigging, the state machine control and all of that. What he should tell you is that if only the students in Lagos alone decide that they will vote and that they will reject this oppression, these guys will be thrown out of the place, like even if they want to manipulate whatever, and the students man the votes. The easiest thing is to get rid of this current leadership class in Nigeria. It's just that people haven't averted their minds to it. So this is really what the game plan is.
Thank you, Prof.
You're welcome. I didn't want to talk for too long because if I continue, I can go for like an hour like that. So I wanted to break so that I can be asked any questions.
Prof, thank you so very much. Dustin Remy, I want to pass on to you, please. What's your question for Prof?
Yeah, thank you very much, Prof. And apologies to our viewers and to yourself again for the technical glitch that we've had. My question, Prof, I want to take you back. You can try to be as short as possible. Now, there have been so many stories. Even yourself, you've been a member of APC before. So Nigeria people, we are all the same. We are not different. My question is, how are you going to make this happen? Or how are we going to make this happen?
Thank you. Thank you very much. As you said clearly, we were the ones who founded APC thinking that we were going to build something different. What happened? We completely underestimated the, I don't know, I want to use a polite word, the machinations of the people who we thought we were partners with. And from day one, they had only one object: to eliminate from anywhere near the power arena those people, no matter what they sacrificed, who wanted things done right. And that's why we went the way that we have gone. I mean, some of us chose to ignore them from day one. But we recognize that we have a duty to history, we have a duty to our children, and to all people of goodwill. And that is why we think that it's important to try again and try on that track. But this time, we must lay down very clearly criteria for engagement, for participating. We dealt with these guys on trust the last time. I mean, Chief Odige Oyegun is a very good friend of mine. He was chairman of a party. I don't have to say anything. He can tell you the story himself. And I came to Chief Oyegun and said, look, we must lay down criteria for anybody who will dare seek public office from this party. We must train them. Chief Oyegun said to me, you know, there's no money to do all of that. I said, Chief, don't worry about money. I will bring my friends. I will bring Bismarck Rewane. I will bring this person. I will bring that person. And we will do it free of charge. You have all this open space in this your APC office complex. Just tell them to take transport and come to Abuja. We will stay there and train them in the politics of it, in the economics of Nigeria, and all of those things. The truth of the matter was the poor man did not realize that all the people around him had no interest in running a government of people who knew what they were doing. They just wanted power, raw power. And nothing was done. So APC became an all-comers gathering of just power grabbers with no focus on what it wanted to do for the Nigerian people. And so some of us just sat back and watched them. and give them distance. But should we just roll over and die? And we think, no, there's one more chance, especially since they've run the country to the ground. I mean, people are so angry on the streets of Nigeria. I don't think these people realize what they have done and what will hit them. People are so bitter. I mean, the people who can eat one good meal on the streets of Nigeria. Power, look at, since I've been talking to you, I've not had power all day. This is Ikoyi.
Okay, we may have lost audio.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay,
Go
we
on,
can hear you,
Prof.
sir. Go ahead, Prof.
Okay, sorry, some phone call tried to interfere. So, I
I think we lost Prof.
No, it's probably may still be an assistant phone call, I think, since he's
Yeah.
using his phone.
But Prof is really giving us some fundamental issues, bedeviling our our democratic space. I can really see where he's coming from on a personal angle. Dr. Loretta, I don't know what you have to say, madam.
Yeah, Buki is saying, Dr. Loretta, good evening. You are not happy. Now, Loretta, are you thinking too much about Nigeria?
Or between the bridge, us and the people. Can we hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Buki, I'm fine. Everyone, I'm fine. I was just trying to work on the technicalities behind the scene. And that is my focus face. Okay, so I'm really fine. I think Prof has laid down a number of issues as to what we should begin to rethink on the road to democracy 2023 and beyond. And I just believe that it now behoves us, we the people. We can see the examples he has given. We the people to begin to actualize some of these things. We all know the solutions. We all know it. But what are we doing about it? Because I find that our problem is not talk as Nigerians. Our problem is in the verb to do. To do, that verb, it's a problem for us. And I've said it before. Prof is not going to come to your office or your school. Neither is the current president of Nigeria going to do that. We are all leaders in our own rights. What are we doing about what? I'll keep reiterating these questions. What are we doing about these things in our own niche to start with? Give the youth a chance. Give the youth a chance. What are the youths themselves doing? Are they going around buying examination answers? Are they registering as external students? Are their parents paying for them to have exams sat for them? If that's the case, how are they going to turn out to be proper leaders in states and in governance tomorrow? Look at the youngest governors we have today in the current polity. How are they performing? I even find it hard to comprehend their speech making. So I think we all need to take it right back to source, which is us and the family units.
Thank
Fair
you,
enough.
Dr. Loretta. Comrade, you were going to say something.
I think Loretta, Dr. Loretta did nail it quite succinctly, and it's unfortunate that as simple as she has laid it out, the practice is actually far from that reality or of simplicity, and that is again she will. Dr. Loretta is she's very well cut out, on how to put these things very mildly. But for me, the things are no longer mild in Nigeria.
You
And,
always call a spade a spade.
yes, my
And
brother,
not just a working implement.
not just a working implement. You understand what I'm saying? It looks simple when we explain it, but the truth of the matter is that in practice, what we have, it's really a tragedy, and that is the truth. And that is why Prof is back. Let's get Prof back up. Prof, you're
yeah,
welcome
I am
back, sir.
back. My apologies. Thank you. See, it's the same Nigerian problem I'm talking about. We had
Yes, sir.
they switch from big generator to small generator and cut me off in the switching, not knowing I needed the power for the
Yeah,
Wi-Fi.
Prof, I want to ask you a question, and many of our viewers wants to know. We had our last election in 2019, and since
Yes.
2019, the alternative coalition has been a bit quiet, or probably what was going on behind the scene. Why is it that we get so close to election before this momentum picks up again?
You, you see, it is not true at all. It is part of the false um, consciousness that is created. They just come around during election. But this is not true at all, at all. Look, um, about 2 years ago, you will remember that a statement about this movement was put out in a rush when conversation was going on by Wale Okuni, the NCF. And at that time, if you recall, a number of the members of the group, including Femi Falana, Wakoba, and co, had said no, they were not in this meeting, and if you remember, that was 2 years ago. This meeting has been going on for more than 3 years. See, the media has a way of just getting excited at a particular point in time, and it then gives the impression that this thing just started. Not at all. It has been going on since 2019.
Thank you, Prof.
Prof, you were before the line went off just now. You were actually trying to answer the question of a comrade pharmacist Remira on how do we actualize this. That is
Okay.
this program, yeah.
Yeah. So, as I was saying, um, we have a number of good fortunes, besides the fact that they have dug their own graves in the way they've run the country and run it down. There is the reality of the fact that we have people so frustrated, they are looking for light to follow. Now, we are going to use technology to mobilize all these people who are looking for a new path. We have put in place, there's a gentleman who's built for us a platform that will enable everybody to get on this platform and have real direct participatory democracy, dealing with the issues from their community level all the way to national level on a continuing basis. Now, we have for our structure the fact that we have the Labour Congress present everywhere in the country. So their local base is part of our structure. We have the various women's societies who we are, engaged with right now. All of them will give us people from every local government that there is in the country. We have youth organizations. We're going to do exactly the same thing with them across the country. It is from this base that we will conscientize Nigerian people and get them to do what youth can did when they come to a simple principal of the school who had been created by Ibrahim Kara and urged him to run against the incumbent governor. And he said, "Who am I? I don't have money." And Alaji Madam said to him, saw him one day, Ibrahim, he said, "Sir, I hear the coward." He said, "Why do you say that, sir?" Young people say you run for governor, you say you have no money. That's what Ibrahim Kara get wrong. And the use of car mobilized, protected the vote, and he beat the incumbent governor by 100,000 votes. I think that we deploy
sorry to interrupt. Your audio is breaking. We really barely hear. I'm sure it's still the network issues that we are having.
Prof can use audio only. Can switch on
Yes,
his.
I've gone back to audio only.
Yeah. Thank you,
Better.
sir.
Oh.
Go ahead, sir. We
So,
can hear you now.
so I was talking about the Shekarau strategy in Kano, where this man, the civil servant, who challenged the way the governor was doing things, and the governor said sack, and they said the civil servant can't sack, so they sent him back to the palace to
The
be.
line is still breaking. Prof, it's still breaking. Probably Prof will just call direct our comrade show line. The viewers know that he's here. I think we'll use that alternative because Prof is really saying a lot. Yeah, we barely hear. Yes, if you can just call in using our line.
But I know we are live. I probably think that ordinarily we have 6 minutes to the end of this program. I probably think I will need to reschedule this interview. I don't know what Dr. Letta thinks, so that we can just call Prof and probably, but this is very important. We need to stay on this matter. We
Yes.
schedule for another day and hope that we have a better network and work towards that date.
Right.
But even if Prof comes back now, I'm not sure we have a lot to chew, on the things he's discussing with. He's not even gone any length at all, and we haven't got time. The Nigerian factor. They say me I not call it tragedy, but
I think I support you because it's almost 7 o'clock.
yes.
Yeah, I support that. Probably Dr. Oduware will help us, work on that vaccine, and then
Let's reach him and
even
reschedule.
some of our viewers, I said yes, schedule another meeting because people really want to hear Prof. He's
Oh
got a lot
yes.
to say.
So let us just assume that this particular edition is to advertise the next proper meeting.
So, gentlemen, are we saying that what if you call Prof on the line and let him know this, let the audience hear you? You have his number.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me just.
So, viewers, Comrade Bonsa, our chief host, is going to talk to Prof, and then we will take it from there. At least everybody agreeing. Professor Utomi has a lot to say.
In fact, having him next Sunday will be grand.
Absolutely.
We are already we are already booked to discuss with the commissioner for
That is still tentative. We haven't.
okay.
Yeah.
Hello, can we hear me?
Yes.
It looks like my network is fluctuating.
We can hear you, Dr. Baraka.
Okay. I was just going to say that I don't think my views are different from Omoeme's own. I think they are similar views. And it's been wonderful being with everybody here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Like Sister Itoan actually said, because it's coming up to 7 o'clock, and I actually promised her. Like Sister Itoan,
Loretta, we can hear your audio.
Can you hear me now?
No, we're hearing some audio from your background there.
Oh.
Yeah, a lady was speaking.
Has it gone?
Yes.
Hello, Prof.
Okay.
Yeah, good evening. This is Comrade Lante. You are live on show with us on the Comrade Show.
Right, right.
You well done, sir. So, Prof, we because of these glitches we've had with the network and all of that, we are thinking, because our audience, everybody, people are really attentive. So we are thinking that we want to reschedule this meeting at another time of your convenience. So that because this is a discourse we want to stay on, We want to stay with as much as possible. We want to, as a matter of fact, we want to have you again and again and again so that we keep pushing this narrative because it's interesting and people want that space where we can have an alternative. And you already have the structure. People are beginning to get to understand that, and it's exciting. And from the contributions we are getting, the comments and everything, people are getting really really excited. And so we are thinking that we would like to reschedule this at another day of your convenience, if that's okay, sir.
It will be a pleasure. It's not a problem at all. Yeah.
Thank you
I
very
mean,
much.
if you want, I can come back next Sunday. You're
Yeah.
on Sunday, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, this same time on Sunday.
Yeah. And please come back next Sunday, and I'll be sure that I have arranged all the alternative networks. Because I have like 3 or 4 different networks. I'm not sure why the day has just gone so funny.
Yeah, it's Nigeria, sir. It's Nigeria. Thank you very much, Prof. As a matter of Prof, as you are talking to me right now, your voice is live to the numerous audience we have. So we can say of a fact that we are having Professor Pat Utomi next Sunday live on the Comrade Show. We can confirm that, sir.
Yes, oh, absolutely. It will be a great honor, privilege, and pleasure to return to continue the conversation next Sunday.
Thank you very much, Prof, for your time. We are very grateful to you. We are honored, honestly. Thank you so very much. So we'll be in contact with you as soon as we round off this program right now.
All right, then.
Thank you very much. Regards to the family, sir. So, Nigerians across the world, we've had some time with a very pleasant time with Professor Pat Utomi. Unfortunately, the Nigerian factor, talking of network glitches here and there, has not allowed us to have a fluid time. However, like you heard,
Bye.
we're going to be hosting him again next Sunday. Don't go far. 5 p.m. UK time, 6 p.m. Nigerian time. Next Sunday, I think next Sunday is 6th of March. It's a
Correct.
date. Keep that date with us. We're going to continue with the publicity. Tell others who are not here. We have a lot to hear from him and a lot, to learn from him. And of course, he has an alternative for us. Gentlemen, what do you guys say?
Gentlemen
Let me
and
start with the
ladies.
lady in the house. Over to you, man.
Yeah, when you said gentlemen, I was saying gentlemen and lady, please.
Yes, I was coming to Ugume land.
Anyway,
Dr. Lata, let me quickly put this in proper perspective, so you understand. When we're on the comrade show, okay, because of the nature of the comrade show, everybody first and foremost is regarded as a gentleman. It's not masculine per se. It's the nature of the show. Then before we now start breaking into specifics. You know what I'm saying now?
comrade, I will let you off. We will not start a row over gender and female empowerment issues today.
Doctor,
Sir.
we're not even I don't want to start a rule. You are more than 1,000 men put together. I mean, what are we? When a woman becomes that powerful as much as you are, okay, gentleman.
Thank you for patronizing me. Anyway, thank you very much, gentlemen. I want to commend all of you and everybody who has been listening. And I want to particularly thank Professor Patrick Okedinachi Utomi. I want to say that, for many of us, he has been a mentor. I told him he's been a mentor from afar, and I've been like a little apprentice at the foot of the master. And I always tell people you are allowed to have multiple mentors for different things. So the person who mentors you on family life may not be the one who mentors you on your political leanings, or may not be the one who mentors you on other subject matter. And that's how I live my life. So you find that I have my mentors are like a bookshelf. I shelve all of them. So if I want this, I go to that particular shelf and I pull it out. And I think I want to agree with someone who says the man has fans and people all across the world. But I think the way we can all do him a service is to continue to push this positive narrative that he has brought to the Nigerian democratic space from day one. You know, I was going to ask him, and I'll save this question for next week. At a very young age of 23, he was an advisor to the president of Nigeria at the time, President Shehu Shagari. And I want to ask him about his experiences at the time and some things he can proffer to the youths of today and tomorrow. I will save this for next week. But let all of us go away today, not just sitting in our armchairs, not just holding the remote, but actually doing those things that would push the message of the many Patutomis. There are many of him, many like him, men and women like him, that would push their message a lot more on the frontiers of Nigeria's democratic space 2023 and beyond. So, gentlemen, I'll say thank you. All our viewers, I'll say thank you. See you all next week.
Thank you very much. Yes, your last word, my brother, coming from Sister Remiran.
Thank you so much, Comrade Lamte Kwawusa here and Dr. Loretta Agboroko. I think to our viewers, I want to say thank you very much. In spite of the many challenges and problems we had today, you stood steadfast with us. And Prof has promised that we are going to repeat it again next Sunday. Like Loretta has said, a question for Prof. I have many more, but I want to leave this with our viewers, and I think I'm going to ask Prof again tomorrow. The diasporas are yearning to be part and parcel of the third force. He will answer that for us next Sunday. Dr. Agbons, thank you so much for being part of the game today. Our viewers, I say, in the words of Victor Waifu, Titibiti, today is Titibiti. Next week will be the full food. God bless you, Kakabolikali. Have a lovely weekend.
Thank you so very much. Yes, Comrade Dr. Agbons.
Thank you very much, my very beloved brother, Comrade Lante Kwawusa. It's very difficult to speak after Dr. Mrs. Loretta Oduwari-Agboroko has spoken and pharmacist Comrade Austin Iremira has spoken. So what can I say other than to thank all our viewers, both on YouTube and on Facebook. I'll keep keeping an eye on all your contributions. Those I have not been able to read your contribution today, please forgive me. I'm just doing some random picking. I definitely cannot read it all. Thank you all for being with us. Well, and I'm going to leave us with this last line. And this has always been my message to the Nigerian people. The greatest weapon in the hand of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. Steve Biko, renowned South African freedom fighter, said that. Let us take the destiny of our nation in our hands. We cannot sit on the fence anymore. Have a blessed week, great people.
Thank you very much, my brothers and my sister. Yes, Nigerians across the world, yes, many of you will agree with us that definitely we need this discourse. We need to continue on this trajectory because our nation needs to be resuscitated. The oxygen of life is out, and there is a need to reawaken the Nigerian sleeping structures for a better Nigeria, if not just for our sake, but for the sake of the generations yet unborn. To that extent, this narrative must continue. This discourse must continue. This topic must continue, even beyond 2023, for us to have a better nation. Please stay with us next Sunday. We shall be playing host again to Professor Pat Utomi. Thank you very much for being with us. It's been the Comrade Show, and my name is Comrade Lamte Kwawusa Oriahi. See you again, and bye for now.
Comrade Show, wait, Comrade Lamte Oriahi. This is the Comrade Show.